Alright, so I'm recording this video because I initially tried to record it with Livecom, but then it crashed, so now we're here. G'day jabronis, here's the verb back with you again. Man, I don't like playing these ones back, I really don't, but whatever, we're here with our game against Spextar. Spextar's a cool lad, we actually get along really well, so he's not the problem. I am the problem. But regardless, this is week 3 of the NPL. We're currently 1-1. I believe he's 0-2, so we're in a pretty good spot. This is my last week with the team that I had before I made some changes. But yeah, I was pretty keen for this match. Not gonna lie, I felt like I had a pretty good matchup. Pretty sure I recorded a team builder for this, which I will try and upload before this. Probably not gonna happen. I was like a special workup Pidgeot. I was Pyappa, offensive Buzzwole. I was Flyinium Coco to bait Tang. I was Whirlpool Trap as it was Sap Sipper. I was Standard Lucha. And I was Banded Titar. And yeah, we're gonna jump into this game. He brought pretty much everything I expected. I don't know what it is about me. There's a reason why there's a title of this video, because the next 2 weeks you're gonna see me identify that there is a fairy type of my opponent's team with the capability to sweep my entire team, but 2 weeks in a row I don't bring the Pokemon that would completely wall it to hell and back, being either Excadrill or Amoonguss. But spoilers aside, let's begin. I lead Coco, he leads Moltres. Great start for me. I'm just going to double out to Titar. Why do you ask? Well, if he was Scarf Moltres and clicked Fire Blast, I was screwed. Since I'm Z on Coco and not Shed Shell, if I clicked an electric move and went to Dougie, I was screwed. So Titar kind of covered every play that he could go for as he overheats and misses. Now, this turn, I was Banded Titar, and realistically, I had no reason not to click Crunch. Literally none. If Selly came in, free damage. I just go hard out to Azu. It's as simple as that. Tangrowth, the exact same thing. I go straight out to Azu, and there's no problem at all. Like, there is no drawback in any way or form to that play. What do? I go for Stealth Rocks, because I think there is no way that Specs switches in his Dougie hard on my Titar. Can you guess what's about to happen? Oh no, Dougie came in. And now I'm trapped in and locked into Stealth Rock. And there's nothing I can do about it, because I don't know why. I don't know why. When he had a Dougie there was no reason to lock myself into a move that couldn't hit Dougie. There was no reason not to just click Crunch. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, yeah. I go into Buzzwole because he can't hit me with Dougie. Or if he does, it's Aerial Ace and I'm not going to do shit. He goes into Moltres, I jab. I don't get a poison. He doesn't get a burn. It's all good. I go on a Chungus. He U-turns out. Goes into Tang. Now, you've already seen within the first 2 turns I made a misplay of my Titar. We're now on turn 7. You're about to see a misplay with the Zoomeril. I have no reason to switch a Zoomeril out. The whole premise of this fucking set is that I Whirlpool this Tangrowth and trap it in. I was sitting here in the battle being like, man, he could drop a Sludge Bomb and that could be real bad. But then in the back of my mind I was like, he has no reason to do that. He's going to click a Grass type move because it's fucking free as far as he knows. So I should have just Whirlpooled this turn, but I was like, nah, he's going to click a Sludge Bomb, so we're going to get harder to Buzzwole. He Stun Spored. If I had stayed in with a Zoomeril, I would have successfully Whirlpooled that Tangrowth, and even if he had Sludge Bomb, I would have gone for Perish Song on my next turn. Sludge Bomb would not have killed me. I could have rested up and then basically killed his Tangrowth. His Tangrowth would have died because of my access to Protect as well. The Tangrowth would have died, is what I'm trying to get at here. And yeah, Tangrowth being removed would have meant that Coco could just click Z-Brave Bird against whatever the fuck it wanted to at that point of the game. Tangrowth being removed meant that Buzzwole wouldn't be paralyzed. Just multiple things would have been good. He goes hard into Celesteela as I bulk up, because in my mind I thought potentially he would sack off Moltres that turn. I didn't want to waste a turn. Now I have to go hard Coco because he's most likely going to Air Slash me, as he does. This turn, I think I just go for T-Bolt because it's kind of free. He goes into Tang. I found this turn interesting. It kind of confirmed to me that he was most likely a Sash Dougie. He didn't go into it against Coco right now, knowing it would die. I make another misplay here. Like, Tang should... Okay, so the thing is, right, Tang should have been dead by now. If you think about this matchup, Tang should have been dead. Moltres was dead to rocks. So he really had no Mon right now that wanted to deal with Coco at the range of health that it was at. If it hadn't taken the Selly hit, it was at full health. It would have OHKO'd the Medicham. It would have pretty much OHKO'd Dougie. It would have OHKO'd Comfey with Emu. And the Selly actually would have, funnily enough, taken a hit, but I don't know that yet. Regardless, I'm a U-turn out and get off a nice chunk against this Tangrowth and go out to Buzzwole. He's going to predict the shit out of that and drop me with HP flying. Like, I feel bad for Buzzwole, because in this matchup with the Berry, it actually had a really, really good matchup. And against Medicham and Dougie, you could have put in a lot of work. Even Comfey, like, obviously the Comfey set as you see was a bit of a nuisance, but I think my Buzzwole, because it was so fat, could have potentially taken a hit. Regardless, we go down there. I'm going to go into Pidge. And he's going to go into Selly. And I was like, oh, I could just Heat Wave and that'd be fine. But I choose the Hurricane. I should have just Heat Waved. In that situation, he had no reason to risk Tangrowth, and everything on his team just took damage from Heat Wave. There was literally no reason not to Heat Wave. But I chose the Hurricane. Looking back on this game, it's just stupid. I get a burn here, which is incredibly lucky because it means he not only is not able to kill me here, but I can actually roost for free. And he's going to try to explode, and I eat that. So Selly's dead. So in this situation, if Tangrowth wasn't alive, I was pretty much in a position where I had the game won. But unfortunately, Tangrowth is alive. So he goes into Dougie, and for some reason forgets that Pidgeot outspeeds Dougie by a point, and I get a free kill on Dougie. So again, we're going off the premise that words are hard. Let's try and get through this, Sam. We're going off the premise that Tangrowth is already dead. So what we have left is Mega Medicham and Comfey. Now, the thing is, I kind of, at this point of the game, would have pretty much lost to Comfey, I'm pretty sure. Just because his Comfey is actually specs with Triage, which outspeeds everything on my team. But, I guess in his mind, he has no idea what my Azu set is, so he can't successfully say that he's going to be able to win with Comfey, because Azu's there. So Medicham's going to come in. I was tossing and turning when building this Pidgeot over whether I should run Protect or I should run Work Up. I chose to run Work Up, and for some reason, I still to this day, I'm not sure why, but Specs decided to run Bullet Punch Fake Out, and it just happens to work out for him. I was trying to think in the matchup, like, right, you need, like, Zen is pretty good because it knocks out Buzzwole, and also, I mean, hits Coco for sure. A fighting type move is great. Thunder Punch seemed fantastic for Azumarill. I had... Like, I get the Bullet Punch was maybe there just to pick off... I don't know. I felt like it just worked out for him, dude. It is what it is. Anyway, my play here is to go back into my Coco because I can take a Bullet Punch. And on this turn, potentially make a misplay. He kind of chokes the game, I'm pretty sure. No, he doesn't on this turn. I think it's the turn afterwards he almost chokes the game. Because at this point, his Tangrowth will die to Z Brave Bird. So I'm going to just click it and knock out his Tang. The big thing, I don't know how much it mattered because I can't remember doing the calcs for it. But the big turn, I suppose, was that if Tangrowth had died and it was just Coco against like Medi here, there was still a chance that I could win. It just depended on how much Coco took from Specs Comfey. I can't remember exactly how much it took, but if it could have lived the hit, then obviously preserving Coco to click the Z Brave Bird probably just OHKO'd Comfey. But regardless, here I can just Protect, as I know he's going to try and Fake Out. And on the next turn... Oh yeah, this was the turn that confused the shit out of me. So like, he chooses to switch in Comfey as I Brave Bird. Now, Comfey takes 47, which tells me that after Rocks it was going to die to a Z Brave Bird. So that's the annoying part about this, I think, was that if I had preserved the Z move if Tangrowth was dead, I would have made the same plays against Medicham and then just dropped the Z move. Because either Medicham dies and I have to hope that Azumarill can 1v1 the Comfey at the range of health that it's at, which I might be able to, potentially. It's not 100%. But also the fact that if Comfey can't knock out Coco, from that range. Like, granted, Coco probably, if, you know, certain things hadn't happened in the game, wouldn't have taken as much damage as it has now. Like, it shouldn't have had to have taken... What has it taken? It shouldn't have had to have taken the air slash from Selly and all the rock switch-ins. That's the main thing. And the Brave Bird recoil against Tang. It shouldn't have had to have taken that. So it would have been enough range to live a Comfey hit. And I could have just Z-moved and knocked it out. So it's not even part of hacks. It's just, I'm telling you that I misplayed. And if I'd knocked out Tangrowth with a Azumarill like I'd planned to, then Coco could have taken the Specs Draining Kiss, and I could have OHKO'd back with Z Brave Bird. So that's the kind of point that I'm pretty much getting at this point. But at this point of the game, it is more or less checkmate. I guess I was a bit surprised on this turn with the play that Spexstar made. I think he had the game won on this turn, but for some reason he chose to Giga Drain. I don't really agree with that play. I don't see why he didn't just click Draining Kiss. I think he just won if he clicked Draining Kiss, because Triage gives priority, so you're going to be able to knock out Coco. I guess he did it because he expected Azu to come in, but luckily for me, I'm Sap Zipper. The downside for me, though, is that I've left my Coco weak enough to where it dies to Comfey. Now, the funny thing is, initially my Azumarill was leftovers. The reason I stopped being leftovers was because when I was facing off against, I can't remember what it was, I think it was a Celesteela, and I chose to Perish Song it in a mock without Whirlpooling it first. And then what happened was I Perish Songed it, and then he just swapped out Selly and went straight into Dougie on the turn that I tried to Whirlpool. So I got my turns wrong, and ever since then I got terrified and I decided to run Shed Shell. But in reality, what I should have just done was ran the lefties, because if I ran lefties, I think I would have 1v1 this Comfey, because he has to swap out because he is Specs. I didn't realize that at the time. I just thought he was swapping out because I'm an Azumarill. So Medicham comes in. I'm just going to drop a Whirlpool on this bad boy and chip it down. Doesn't really do too much. I just protect here as he fakes out. It is what it is. I could try and rest up on this thing, but literally my play... So in my mind, I just completely forgot about Triage. At this point of the game, I was tunnel vision, completely forgot about Triage, sent in Coco, and he just Zens and knocks me out. And I was like, cool, Lucha's got the game on lock because it's Lucha. But no, Lucha does not have the game on lock. Lucha would have had the game on lock if it was Roselli Berry, but it ain't. So here's where I make the misplay of the century. So there was literally, at this point of the game, no reason for me to preserve Holucha. My reasoning for preserving Lucha was that I felt he had to go for Draining Kiss, and I was like, oh, maybe it won't be Specs, but there was no reason not to just sack Lucha this turn, because Azumarill at the range of health that it's at, if it is Specs, I'm going to lose regardless, because I've allowed it to come in on rocks, and like, just, it didn't really do anything there. So there was really no reason to bring in Azu on that turn of rocks to try and take 2 hits from Comfey, because the whole plan potentially would have been like trying to rest stall it if I could, but you're going to see here as I bring in Azu to try and take the hit from Comfey, the Draining Kiss does 34, so potentially it could have worked. I could have rested, and judging on damage rolls, there was a chance that Azumarill could have 1v1'd Comfey, because he Draining Kisses, I rest, he Draining Kisses, I burn a sleep turn, he Draining Kisses, I burn a sleep turn, he Draining Kisses, I wake up and I rest again. And really what it would have then just come down to is just whether he got the rolls he needed to knock me out, or if I was able to survive. But this is also where, like I said, if I had lefties, Azumarill won the game. At this point, Azumarill would have won the game against the Comfey, because he was locked into Specs Draining Kiss, and if I had lefties recovery, I could have sacked off Holucha freely against the Comfey, and then Azumarill could have effectively just rest spammed against Comfey's Draining Kiss until he proceeded to struggle. But because of a Shed Shell, that wasn't possible from that range, and I had to make this aggressive play because of the fact that I thought maybe if he wasn't super offensive on his Comfey, then Azumarill could come in and take 2 hits and rest up and be fine, but I make a misplay there. There was a slight chance I could have won if I preserved Azu against the Comfey, but it was very, very slim from that point of the game. I would have to get rest turns right, but like literally if I ran lefties. So this is what this battle taught me more than anything else, and like advice I can give to you guys who are watching. First and foremost, do not make your T-Tars choice locked against a team of Dougie, or if you do, make them choice lock against a team with Dougie. Do not lock yourself into a move that can't hit Dougie. That was just silly on my part. Being able to pressure Dougie at that point of the game would have been huge, and with rocks not up, I pretty much had this game. So there was that. And two, the biggest thing is just going with your gut. My initial gut instinct was not to run Banded T-Tar. I think it was to run E-Belt, and E-Belt would have been great here. It would have taken the hit from Dougie, got off the damage I needed, it would have been fine. I could have got up my rocks freely and still damaged Dougie in the process, and it would have been fine. And then the big one was running lefties on Azu, because with lefties on Azumarill at this end game against this Comfey, then I 100% 1v1'd it, because I ate up the Draining Kiss, I went for rest. Even if 34% is a min roll with a lefties recovery, I mitigate that freely, and because I have access to rest, actually no, I stand corrected. Okay, here's my kind of thought process, right? I would have probably tried to 1v1 the Comfey, but what I would have had to have done in order to kind of achieve it is a little bit different. Because you see, the risk with running the rest, and I should explain this very explicitly, is that I had electric terrain up with Coco. So what I would have had to have done is, if you recall on a turn, I think when Coco was in against Metacham, and I swapped... No, Coco was in against Comfey, and I swapped out Coco on that turn against Comfey to go into Azumarill, right? If my whole play was to preserve Azumarill to win the game against Comfey, then on that turn with Coco versus Comfey, I would have just sacked off Coco. Because if it revealed Draining Kiss, then I knew that Azumarill could basically just 1v1 it, and I could have sent in Azu to basically, at that point of the game, instead of swapping in on the rocks, I could have swapped in and Whirlpooled it, proceeded to live the 2 Draining Kisses, I believe, from the range that I was at with lefties, and then gone for my rest spam and beaten the Comfey. And we would have been Gucci. That would have been great. And then Holucha in the back would have just been there as a extra thing for Metacham, because Metacham just needed a little bit of chip by Azu from like Whirlpool plus Protect, and then Lucha, even without the seed, Acrobatics would have knocked out Medi, and we would have been fine. So yeah, it was a bit frustrating for sure. I don't know. I'll let the game play out, because you can kind of tell what's about to happen. I just kind of, yeah. Just like, it was modest specs, there was not much you could do about it, and he's just going to clean up the game. Yeah. It is what it is, and I realized too that I kind of choked as well with Azu, because what I could have done, and what would have basically won me the game too, potentially, was against the Comfey. What I was trying to do to win the game was actually get in Azu to go for Perish Song. But what I should have just done was use Lucha to sack off and then go into Azu, try to stall, because the other thing with Azu too is if I'd brought in Azu with like a decent amount of HP still in against the about to call it Lele because it says get laid, against the Comfey, then I could have Perish Songed, and because of Perish Song, I would have actually, it's the fastest Pokemon dies first, so he would have actually lost his Comfey before I lost my Azumarill, and I would have won 0-0, but it still would have been a win to me, which would have been huge. But unfortunately we do lose. I mean, honestly, I didn't get hacks, guys. It was just where my prep wasn't good enough. I second-guessed myself, and it cost me. And this happens. I called this part 1 of the Fairy Fisting, because next week, pretty much almost an identical situation to this happens. The only difference is that I basically put myself in the perfect position to win, and then the most impossible of things that could have changed the course of the game changes it. And it's just what it is. Like, I'm sorry to spoil what's about to happen, but yeah, bad times are ahead for the Tampa Bay Frogadiers, but there are some team changes. I'll probably try and discuss them in the next video. I'm not too sure. We'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of behind on uploads. Life is very busy, so it's hard to kind of make all these leagues work, but I'm trying. We're getting there. But yeah, unfortunately, we're going to lose this one 1-0. GG to Specstar. It's his first win of the season, so massive props to him. And yeah, I mean, I'm not mad too much. Like, he played really well. He did what he had to do. But yeah, in that situation, there wasn't really much that I could do against his Comfey in that late game. I just didn't bring a Comfey check. He said that he had Trick for the Amoonguss, but at the same time in that end game, if it's like Comfey and Metacham against Amoonguss in the back instead of, say, like Azu in that game, then in that situation I could have just sacked off Coco, sent in Amoonguss if I needed to, and like Metacham isn't really taking on a Sludge Bomb, and Amoonguss could have also just been packing a Piapa Berry. Could have easily lived a hit from Metacham. knocked it out with 2 sludge bombs, and then like, what is Comfey gonna do? And I have Holutra in the back as well if I need to just sack it to get Omungus back in to take hits for free. Electric Terrain Blows that I could just go for Spore. Like, I had plays on plays. So, yeah, kind of annoying that it worked out that way. I just... It's going to happen 2 weeks in a row where I just expect my opponent to bring... Or to expect me to bring... I guess what I keep got to get out of my mindset is that, yes, my opponents might expect me to bring the Steel type and the Poison type, but they can play around them. Like, he had a Selly, which kind of walls Amoongus plus Extra Drill. So yeah, it is what it is. GG to Specs. I will try and bounce back next week. Psych, you already know that I ain't gonna, but I'm gonna try and just show you guys how well I did play next week's game and how unfortunate the ending was. But yeah, it is what it is. My name's Averd. I'm out this bitch.